Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, I don't even know if it sounds good or not. I should probably listen to it. I think I should.
You remember that show? Are we recording?
Yeah. I don't know where to put stuff like this. Like, this is great stuff. What is up, guys? Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. Hopefully this year is much less of a train wreck.
Absolutely.
But welcome to My Wife Still Likes Me, a show where we talk about life, marriage, dating, parenting, and everything else that could go wrong in a relationship from two guys who don't always know what's happening. But we've been married for a long time. Hopefully you guys are doing all right. Welcome to the show. Happy New Year, Mike. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Thank you, brother. I'm good. I'm good. So far, so good. I mean, we're just right into 2021, and we're trying to get into getting this going. I'm so excited about this. This is amazing. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for ever, it feels like, but
Yeah.
a couple of years. We both work at different churches since we started talking about this. All right. I am going to start the show off with a question. It's not topic related, but it is a question. Uncommon questions, something we're going to try to encourage as we talk about in this show. Talk to your spouse, talk to your husband, talk to your wife, whatever. Talk to your kids, talk to people. Um, at the moment, probably still through Zoom, but talk to people. Anyway, Mike, what is the nicest thing your wife has done to cheer you up?
That should come a lot easier. That absolutely should come a lot easier. But you sit there and you're trying to just pull something out, and it's the nicest thing that she's done to try to cheer me up.
Do you want to think about it?
Wow. Again, I shouldn't have to, but I mean, I sit there and I think one of the nicest things is she's taken, everybody out of the house and let me have the house to myself and just to relax, whether it be just to gather my thoughts, whether it be just to sleep. I mean, that is amazing when you can actually get good quality sleep, not in the morning or anything like that, later on in the afternoon. It's a after church on Sunday or something like that, and you just want to relax. And she's like, okay, got the kids, let's go. Let's let him sleep. I think that is amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine's similar. Mine has a story, which is good or bad. I don't know. So I was sitting down with my son, and we homeschool. And so we're going through, and I spent a week going through all of these different math problems and all these different math problems. And we get to the unit review, and we go to K-12. So every like 4 days, there's a unit review. There's a lot of work. We get to this unit review, and we spent hours and hours getting all this stuff done. We sit down to the unit review, and it's like we never even talked. Like nothing. Like 4 hours, and there's tears, and there's grumpiness, and all of this stuff. And like I felt like a failure as a parent. Like I've spent weeks trying to teach you this, and you've repeated it back to me. I make you do the test yourself, and nothing. And I was just like, why do I even bother? Why do I do this? So I get motorcycle rides. So it was like middle of the day, and let's just go, just get out, go away, do something. And so I took the bike out for like 4 hours. Just went like all of the stuff was done. The house was taken care of. My wife works from home, so the kids were able to like be supervised. And so I just went and rode around for a couple hours. She does that for me pretty regularly now. Like, hey, just go away. Like,
Excellent.
not that I'm even in trouble. Like, nothing's wrong. You just need to go away. Like, for your sanity. Bye. See you.
Oh, absolutely. That is amazing.
Yeah. Something about headphones and throttles. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the nicest thing recently. My wife's done a lot of things to cheer me up. How did we get here? That's the question. Why are we doing this? Like, how do we get here? How do we get to my wife still likes me? So, how did you get here?
I want to blame you.
Yes, you can blame me. I was going to say that. I was like, this is entirely my fault.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're married, I'm married, we're not married to each other. But I mean, it's it's a sense that, hey, you know what? Marriages don't last these days.
No, they don't.
And I'm going on. Well, I've just celebrated my 28th wedding anniversary. And it's yeah. I mean, I look back at it and all this time, there's times where it's like, wow, what happened here? And you mentioned, at the beginning of the show, as 2020 was a complete train wreck. How do you get back on track with that?
Yeah.
So, and I look back at my marriage and I sit there and I look at that and I'm thinking the same thing. How did we get back on track? And to be able to take what I've learned over the years and just kind of, hey, let's show it, and that's where, when you brought up the idea, it was amazing to sit there and go, you know what, that's good. We can do this. I mean, and just to share our experiences, to be able to maybe help somebody else, men mainly, in my opinion, to be able to help them. What better purpose can we do to start this? This is what we want to do, I think.
Absolutely. I'm with you. That's, I mean, good grief. I've been thinking about this for years. It started out with 14 years married a month ago. Um, but all the time, we have all of our friends or people that know who we are, and several of our couples from churches that we've worked at have like, hey, how do you make it work? Like, what's the deal? What's the secret sauce, if you will? How do you make it work? Or even in this room, I've sat down with couples, and we call them vent sessions. We invite couples over and like talk to me about what your issues are with them, not in a bad way, but like, you two can't do this together, but you can talk to me about it, and let's see if we can find another end. And there's always like the questions like, how did you get to this point? How did you get to that point? How did you do to that? Now, we didn't have a name for it. It was just like, I think it'd be really cool to write a book and get to all the dirty stuff. Like, dirty's not the right word, like not like dirty in the bedroom word, but like,
Yeah, the nitty gritty.
yeah, but not on a like, but not on a fluffy level. Like, let's really talk about what the issues are. So that's where the idea for like the book came from. And then I was like, but I want to turn that into a community, like not just us, but like as we expand, like, hey, what do you guys have to say? Like, hey, what are your thoughts and your comments? And then it turned into nights at, after Bible study or band practice, talking like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And then here we are. So yeah, I blame
Yeah.
me. I really blame my wife. I struggle with motivation, and she's like, "What's one thing you really, really want to do?" Because I'm not a 9 to 5 like sit at a desk guy. You've known that about me for
Right.
years. Um, and I was like, it's like helping people get their marriage back on track or start off together. That's where we come up with dating, parenting, and all of the other things that can go wrong in relationships. Like, let's figure this out, and like, how can we help people get through that? So yeah, that's that's how I think we got here. Um,
And so I think, moving on that, I mean, we can talk about different things, pretty much everything, is pretty much fair game. I think we need to, we'll have kind of a rough idea of what we want to talk about, but I think as we move on in this, um, and we grow and we get, an audience base, they can start giving us ideas, hey,
mhm.
this is what I'm dealing with. How did you guys do that? Being married by, for so long, or whatever the case may be, as long as, um, we can be really honest here.
Yeah,
I think it's great. And it's not going to be, a session of slamming our wives or slamming our family. This is something that, over the years, I'm sure, I know I've learned, and I'm pretty sure that you've learned, or that you don't ever do that. But I mean, as far as topics, we can, the roof is, open.
totally gonna throw you under the bus here. Only requirement I have for the show is that we keep our family friendly rating. Like, that's it. All the topics are fair game.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? We I think we've talked about this in the past, like a long time ago. We want people to be able to listen to this on their way to school or whatever with their kids in the car.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what I mean by family friendly rating. Like, let's not avoid subjects because they're not family friendly, but let's talk about them in a way that if our kids are sitting in the back seat, the questions later aren't awkward
Right.
or less awkward. Um. Anyway, uh, yeah,
I like it. I think that's a great idea, and thank you for throwing me under the bus. I guess that's something, as a man, I should work on.
I
You
think I
know.
meant that like this was your idea, but you don't know it.
Oh, okay.
No, because I'm with you. Like, I gotta pay attention too. No, I meant that like this was your. That's not the right words. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Throw you under the bus. Like, it was your idea. Like, hey, let's like keep this up with like we need like moms, like ladies. Yes, you're welcome. And I know I'm looking over here. That camera just shut off. You're welcome to join us. We're two guys. We're going to talk about this from the men's perspective. Occasionally, we'll have our wives come on the
absolutely.
show. Um, I think yours is working too. Mine is working right now, so they're both
Yes.
working. Um, it's nap time in my house for a whole lot of other reasons we don't want to talk about, but um, we want you know soccer moms to be able to listen, and that's a horrible term, and I'm sorry, but that's what I mean when I say
Right.
soccer mom. We want soccer moms to be able to listen to this with their kids. Um,
Oh yeah.
and so family friendly, like let's not avoid the topics, but we don't need to be like this is how you put this in here without explaining details.
Right.
um but yeah.
And I think you're right. I mean, that's where, it's not, we're given our opinion as men of what our experiences, but this absolutely doesn't limit, the female audience, the wives,
Oh
things
yeah,
like that,
absolutely not.
girlfriends, whatever the case
I
may
am
be.
not equipped to answer the questions from that
No,
perspective.
no,
Not even a little bit.
no, absolutely not. And
um,
and and that's where I think this is going to be something. I believe it's going to be new. It's going to be different. We're married again, not to each other, but we're married. We're
oh,
married, and
that's great.
it's refreshing, I guess is the word to say it, is to sit there and go, okay, usually women want to help women. Now we need the men to help each other. If I think marriage is something that we need to work on as men. I don't think it comes as easy to men, in
Oh
my
no.
opinion. Um, but I think if we can help with roadmaps,
If it does come easy as a man, I don't think you're doing it right.
that makes sense. That makes
I think you
absolute
missed something.
sense.
Because
Uh,
when we talk about marriage, like in general, like it's not 50-50. It's
no, it's
100
a
and
hundred,
100.
hundred.
So and maybe if there's a guy out there that marriage comes easy, we need to bring him on the show because I want to hear how it works.
Definitely, absolutely.
um, but the reason it's 100 is and 100 is there are some days that I just don't have 100, but my wife does, and there's some days that she doesn't have 100 and I do, and that's like together. Like it's not a one and one. Like it's one and one makes two, and then two can do more things. But sometimes you gotta get picked up by your belt loops, and sometimes you don't.
Absolutely. Smack the table, wake me up.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, that's what we do sometimes. But yeah, I mean, and that's the best part. Go ahead, brother.
This is one of those things that just mentally pops into our head when we talk about random things. So when I don't remember if my son was born, one of my kids was born. I don't hear the monitor, like the baby monitor. I never hear it, like ever.
Okay.
And that was one of those like we were talking about like things you got to do together. And like I like to think I was pretty good with the kids when they were babies. Like I changed diapers, like whatever. I don't avoid that stuff. I mean, we joke about it, like, hey, I changed the last one, whatever. But my wife would go to work, and I would literally like sleep on the monitor, and I still wouldn't hear it. And like I'd feel bad because I'd wake up and like not only did I not like take care of the kids, like they were fine, they were okay, but like my wife had to go to work, and like I didn't hear the kids like right when they woke up right away, so they'd like an extra like 5 or 10 minutes in a diaper. But then like in the back of my head, my wife's not here, and she's never gonna know that I didn't get up when I first heard the monitor. But like, good grief, I never heard that thing. I was thinking about 100 versus 100 and 100. There are some days I just don't have
Oh, absolutely.
it.
I get that, and I know that's where I've been there.
And that's something we talk about that like, and that's okay. But that's why we need to try to do this together, like spouses helping spouses, not spouse against spouse. You're on the same team.
Right.
And so I'm excited about where we're going and some of what we're going to talk about in the next few episodes about how we talk about that and get through all that. But that how did we get here is we hear stories about, I mean, the statistics are awful that 50% of marriages don't exist anymore.
Right.
Like, that's not okay. And we joke about one of the names we came up was anti failed marriage. And I'm like, that makes me think too much.
Right.
But that's what we are. We don't want to see, or I don't, and I assume we're doing this
Yeah.
together. I don't want
Absolutely.
to see any more marriages fail. And if this is something we can do for the rest of our community, um, absolutely. Like,
Definitely.
I, but it's a community. Like, I have some ideas about how marriage works, and you have some ideas about how marriage works, and they're not the same. But the idea is that you take our ideas and some of their ideas and figure out which one works for your family.
Yeah. I mean, you can mold what we give. We're not, you know, specialists in this area by no means. But I
Oh,
mean, this is where, you know, I've always, taken advice from everything, put it together, and then
Put
formed my own.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Put it in
We're
a
hoping-
blender and hope you get an idea.
Yeah, an idea. Just
what is
one.
it?
That's
Isn't that
all I
how
want.
you find out if spaghetti's done? You take a noodle out and throw it at the
Throw it
cabinet,
against
see
the
if it
wall.
works.
Yes. If it sticks, that's the
Here's
one.
a bunch of ideas. Figure out which one. No. Makes me sound like I don't want to listen to this. You're just going to give me a bunch of stuff and I have to figure out what works. Yes, you have to work at marriage. Just like you have to work at work and you have to work at being a parent. And it's not easy. But you go to bed, try again tomorrow.
And there's no vacations.
No.
You know, work you get a couple weeks off or so.
I don't like going out without my wife. I like going out like to get away just to think, but like long trips without my wife is just weird. Like it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've been on like some business trips and whatnot, and I'm gone for 3, 4, 5 days, and I call my wife regularly. There's a part of me missing. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Call it sappy. I don't care.
I read a thing the other day that says that like you become addicted to your spouse. I don't know. I didn't like research or fact check it, but research says you become addicted to your spouse. That when you're away, your body goes through withdrawals, like mentally.
I see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just weird. Like,
and you know, to jump back on our little screen here, my wife still likes me. I think we talked about that, and it was like, hey.
That's true.
Wow. My wife does still like me.
Yeah.
You know, she always loves me, but she still likes me.
That idea I got from my wife. I was like,
yeah.
I love you. I don't always have to like you.
Exactly. But
how do we keep it that way? And that's kind of things we're going to talk about. My wife still likes me. Or ladies, my husband still likes me.
Yeah.
It's complicated, but we're going to figure it out.
Right.
With that, I totally had a line for the next episode. Oh, yeah. So next week, I'm going to talk about myself. Not that I don't do that enough already. Shh, be quiet.
Okay.
Wait, it's a show we're supposed to talk. This is the first one. So if you're watching the first one, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
If you're watching this on the socials, like and subscribe. Please share your thoughts. You're not in this alone, and we know we're not in this alone. If you have an idea, if you have something you want to talk about, send us a message. I don't have emails or anything like that for you. You're going to have to go to whatever you're watching this on and hit comment and leave us a comment, and we will try to respond. And if we don't respond, maybe it just means we're going to talk about your topic. Absolutely. Be nice, though. Don't tear down or beat up. Yeah, tear down or beat up your spouses. This is not the place for that. We're trying to avoid that because we don't want you to end in, I was going to say the D word.
Oh, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, no.
No, we're not going to give it power here. Nope.
Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.